Hi all, it's been a while since I showed my face on this channel and I wanted to make a video talking about some things I like recently, why not? First things first, I have this really nice blanket that my brother bought me for Christmas, and because I'm in my cozy corner, which is what I call this, because I mean look at this chair, how cool is it? It's actually so cool, I love this chair. I'm gonna put this on. I can't wear it properly. The cool thing about this is that it has armholes, so I can literally walk around in it and it won't fall off. And it's super soft on the inside. It's like super fluffy. I don't know if you can see it, but I love it. So I'm gonna wear it now. I feel like a total grandma. I'm just gonna, there you go, perfect. Also today I have my drink of choice, which is decaf coffee, which is unusual. No, it's actually not that unusual for me to have decaf coffee. I'm more of a tea person. I'm not a caffeine kind of gal, so I opt for decaf. But I've put hazelnut milk in it, which was a recent discovery thanks to one of my good friends who recommended it to me. I didn't even know hazelnut milk was a thing, but it literally tastes like chocolate milk, or more accurately, it's like Nutella milk, which is insane. And the reason I'm having decaf coffee is because it goes perfectly with my favorite snack. And the reason I thought about what my favorite snack is because at work, whenever someone new joins our team, one of the questions our manager asks them to introduce themselves with is, what is your favorite snack? And I thought about this. I was like, I didn't answer this question myself, but I thought if I had to, what would I answer it with? And I came to the conclusion that this snack is my favorite snack of choice. It looks a bit unusual, but this is cooked chestnuts basically, and I buy them in like those health food stores, and they literally taste like little pieces of chocolate, like nutty pieces of chocolate. It's so good, honestly, and it's so good with like a very warm drink, like either chai tea, decaf not decaf, just coffee or black tea. Usually works really well. So good. On another category, I thought I'd talk about some of my favorite trinkets. I know it's an unusual category, but if you've seen my videos and you've seen my room, I love to collect things. I don't know why, I've always been like this since I was a kid. If I see something that's cute and I like it, I'm just like, I need to have it. Since I was little, I ended up, without really meaning to, I started a collection of crystals, and as a result, whenever I see like a crystal shop or, you know, a stall selling crystals, I end up being drawn to it. I want to go buy it. So when I saw this is one of my favorite crystals recently. I do somewhat look into their meanings, but I'm not necessarily about that. It's more just how pretty they are. I love it. I think it's so unique and interesting. This one is called Caribbean calcite. I discovered that it was only discovered in, I think, 2019 or 2021, very recently. I think in Pakistan, could be wrong, but apparently the reason they called it Caribbean calcite is because when you look at it, it looks a bit like the Caribbean, you know, beach, a typical Caribbean beach, and honestly it does. Like, the colors are so incredible on this thing. And the other kind of crystal that I picked out, it's not a crystal, it's actually a fossil, is this ammonite fossil. And I love it because it's quite like holographic almost. It has this little holographic sheen, and I love just staring at it. It creates like rainbows in the light. I think that is so cool. I love these kinds of things, and I have to pick it up. A couple other trinkets that I love recently is this. I feel like a little kid showing off my toys. Basically is, to be honest. This is how I keep my inner child thriving. if that is a thing. I picked up this really cute little lemon doll. It's felted, and I think I wish I could make these things, you know. It's a little lemon with a face and 2 feet, like 2 legs. Like, come on, that is so cool. I just had to pick it up. I picked one up also for my friend. It's a sloth in a hula outfit. Maybe if I have a picture of it, I'll post it. Another one that I forgot to show as well is this really cute little mouse holding a flower. I just think it's so cute, it's so detailed. Like, look at the little lace on its neck. Like, come on, it's got a little lace collar, and the flower is so cute. It looks like, kind of like, reminded me of Valentine's Day, so I was like, oh, this little mouse is giving me a little present. I actually technically picked this up for my mum, but I love it so much I've just kept it in my room because I'm clearly very greedy, that's why. A little bit more of an unusual object that was one of my favourites is this weirdly shaped piece of clay. At first glimpse you probably won't realise what it actually is. I had no idea what this actually is, but I was on a trip to Morocco, Marrakesh, a few months ago, and as I was walking through the bazaars, this man stopped me and my mum, and he had like big boxes of, or more like almost like tube canisters of different objects, like pieces of different aromatic, you know, herbs and different, like, you know, pieces of wood you can burn in the fireplace to give your house a nice smell. And then there was this like box full of these weird shaped clay, almost pot lid looking things, and he was like, oh, have you ever seen these before? He like pulled us in, you know what they're like, you know, in bazaars. Imagine a busy businessman trying to sell you stuff. He's like, oh, come here, have you ever seen this before? And I'm like, no, I don't even know what this is. What is this? And then he licked his finger a little bit and put it on the clay and then put it on his lip, and it made his lips red. He was like, this is lipstick. Here, have one. Take souvenir, you know. And I was just like, what? How is this possible? That is so cool. So I thought I'd actually show you it in action. I could use water, but yeah, let's use water. I was about to dip my finger in my coffee. It's probably not socially acceptable on YouTube. I know it's my channel, but also just gonna do it like this. So we get a little bit of water, then I wet it. You can see I picked up some red. There, lipstick. How cool is that? You could also maybe use it as blush, but I don't wear blush. So this is my new lipstick. I think it's super cool. And as someone who doesn't really ever wear makeup, I really appreciate this kind of thing. Moving on to the next category of books, rather than talking about my favorite book, because that's kind of hard to choose, and this is a bit of a spontaneous video, I thought I'd just talk about the current book I'm reading, which is this book, Circe. I love the cover so much that I painted my nails black to match it. Just so that when I'm on the train and people see me reading, they're like, oh, what's she reading? Oh my god, her nails match her book. That is so cool. At least that's the thought process that I'd have. And I hope that some people might have. Which is really sad, actually, when you think about it. Oh, it smells so good. I really love the detail on the cover. And I love that it's shiny, almost bronze. I just think that's so cool. Madeline Miller, this is the second book I read of hers. The first book being The Song of Achilles, which I read a few months ago. And I really, really loved it. It got me back into into Greek mythology. I love Greek mythology. The other book I'm currently reading slash half reading, because I don't really read it properly, is Mythos by Stephen Fry, and that is all, it's almost like a very summarized retelling of the Greek myths, or the most important well-known characters and lesser known characters in Greek mythology. The Song of Achilles speaks more about Achilles and Patroclus's relationship, and how their relationship goes as they go to war with Troy. On the other hand, Circe is about a completely different set of stories. I like both of these books for different reasons. I'd say that The Song of Achilles is almost more light-hearted and watery in terms of the way it's written. I don't know how else to describe it, other than it's quite airy, quite watery. On the other hand, Circe is very earthy and deep and dark and grim, and a little bit more, grim in the way it's described, and the things that happen in it are quite a little bit, rougher, a little bit more raw and earthy. That's how I describe it. I love Madeline Miller's style of writing. It's very, very descriptive, and I love that because she engages all of your senses. It's very immersive, and she's very good at transporting you to this world that she's writing about. Circe is a really badass character. I love reading about her story. The other reason I love these books is because not only does she touch on Circe or Achilles' stories, she also talks about sort of other Greek myths that are intertwined and linked to these characters. So you almost learn about other characters as well, other gods, other mythical creatures even. So I feel like it's been a great way for me to expand my knowledge on Greek mythology. I'm not too big on reading fantasy, but these two books are different to me, and I was also going to say that when I read Circe, it reminded me the witchcraft side of it, because Circe is a witch and has witch powers. It reminded me of when I read Howl's Moving Castle, and the sort of magic that happens in Howl's Moving Castle. I also loved this book. So those are the books I've been liking recently. Still on the topic of entertainment, a show that I've been rewatching recently, which I call my ultimate comfort show, is Ouran High School Host Club. I think I've rewatched this show over 10 times because it brings me so much joy. I honestly love all the characters. I love the storyline. I love the comedy. It's the other reason I love this show is because to me it's very nostalgic. I watched it since growing up, and that's what most comfort shows are like, right? People like comfort shows because they take them back to a time when they felt good or, positive. It doesn't have to be necessarily good. It just makes me happy. It's like, it's just nice. It just makes me happy. I've spoken about all the physical things I'm loving recently, so let's talk about the digital things I'm loving recently. I love recently, one of my new favorite rituals is to go on YouTube, look up Meadow 4K, and just pretend I'm sitting, in a nice spring meadow, birds are chirping, and there's flowers flowing in the wind, and I'm just reading my book, I'm cozied up with my, you know, my nice blanket, cup of tea. That is one of my new favorite things. Also recently, another thing I'm loving that a colleague at work recommended me is Brave. Brave is a browser, kind of like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, etc. But I love Brave because it's a lot faster, and also it has an inbuilt ad blocker, which I think is really cool. I always have ad blocker extensions anyway, so having an inbuilt ad blocker is obviously very useful, and I love that about it. One of my recent favorite Chrome extensions is this one called Unhook. I don't use social media, and I haven't for a couple years now, and I try my best to minimize the time I spend on YouTube watching videos. One way in which I've managed to curb that addiction is using this extension, and what it basically does is, you can customize it by turning off or turning on buttons, is that it immediately, as soon as I open YouTube, it redirects me to my subscriptions, so I'm not looking at any recommended feeds. I don't get recommended any videos. You can even opt to not see comments on videos. All I'm seeing is literally just people I'm subscribed to and I know bring value to my life, and I really love this, and that I can do this. Honestly, it saves me so much time. Finally, I have to speak about some of my favorite music recently. This is a very big topic for me. Music is something that I absolutely adore talking about and listening to, so it's hard for me to say a favorite song, not just recently, but honestly possibly of all time. It's hard to say of all time, but possibly is Alrighty Aphrodite by Peach Pit. I love that song. I love the darkness of it, and then, you know, the lyrics are very almost dark, and the guitar is so good. It's just so good. Please listen to this song if you haven't heard it. Just pretend that you're like some badass person, you know, when you listen to it. That's how I feel when I listen to it. I'm like, yes, yeah, cool. That brings me to the end of this video. Thank you for listening. I have so many things I could continue talking about because I always have things that I love, my favorites, and these are just a select few. But I thought it was a good way for me to get back into a chat and tea kind of video. There's not much more to say, other than like cut my hair. It's grown out a bit, but you know, haven't seen that on my channel. If you have some favorite things you want to share with me in the comments, please let me know. I am so always open. That sentence didn't make sense. I'm always open to recommendations in terms of anything, you know, music, books, films, although I don't really sit down and watch films, but you could tell me anyway. I will hopefully see you soon. Peace out.